C-D-E-F-G, got me better chasing me. The relentless
Pursuit
of whatever
works
in the life of a child.
Welcome to Fostering Futures with CA Help, a podcast dedicated to our relentless pursuit of whatever works in the life of a child. I'm your host, Athena Cordero, inviting you to join me and countless others as we share our unique perspectives and expertise in the world of special education, behavioral health, social-emotional well-being, and community. Follow us on Buzzsprout, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome, everyone, to Fostering Futures. I'm Athena Cordero, and we are continuing the conversation today, talking about foster youth. And in front of me, I have Aubrey Carballo. And Aubrey, we're going to get into your story, what you get to do here at CA Help, and just how your experience has shaped who you are today, which I know you a little bit better than some others. I've had a chance to work with you, but I really want others to hear how your experience has shaped who you are today and of course what kind of mom you are. Okay? Okay, perfect. So why don't you tell us what your role is here with CA Help? You work for Desert Mountain Children's Center, but what specifically do you get to do with them?
Okay, so for the Desert Mountain Children's Center, I'm a service specialist for Big Bear and Yucca Valley. So I travel to outlier sites and I audit caseloads and basically just make sure things are in order and going as planned.
It sounds like a lot of attention to detail.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. What maybe do you feel like is the most important piece of what you get to do for Desert Mountain Children's Center? Like when it comes down to it, what do you think they're counting on you for? What are they hoping that you get done for them?
Making sure that kids are receiving services on time
Yeah.
and that confidentiality is being held up as the most important thing.
That you're very true. And in your daily routine, as much as there is to look at personal information and a lot of maybe programming and systems work in there, is it hard for you sometimes to think about how or to picture the kids because it's a lot of paperwork, computer files, or does that still stick with you that this is a kid like that we're helping here?
I think because of my history, I always keep it in mind that we're dealing with real kids. Yeah, it's not just a piece of paper, it's not just a file. It's a real kid with a real story, and they deserve to have their services on time and for them to get the help that they need.
Yeah, beautiful. Because I think for some to do the paperwork often and to look at that type of work, it's probably hard to keep the child in the forefront because it's your day to day, right? You get into the habit, but I appreciate you saying that. So you said it's your experience that helps you do that. So let's get into that a little bit. You were in the foster care system as a child.
Yes.
What age did you enter the foster care system?
I entered the foster care system at age 5.
Okay.
Um, I was in and out with my mom, and back in the system, kinda back and forth, but I was officially taken away, at 7.
At 7.
Yes.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother, and later on, after I had already been in foster care for about 7 years, my mom gave birth to a sister.
Okay. And were they so the brother, um, did brother go with you into the foster care system too? Were you guys together?
Well, I was taken from school. And once my mom realized I was taken from school, she kind of headed out with my brother to
Oh.
avoid that.
Yeah.
So I was in the system alone for about 3 to 4 years. And then my brother ended up joining me at my foster home that I was at later on down the line.
So you guys did eventually reunite
Yes.
in foster care. How long were you guys in that placement together?
About 2 years.
Yeah.
And then we were moved to another home. I kind of entered into my teenage years, And so I was eventually sent to a group home. That's where we kind of separated.
Okay.
But we were reunited with my mom when I turned 14.
Okay. So both you and brother went back to mom, and that's when you realized you had a little sister.
Yes.
Okay. Um, how were things then once you all reunited?
Um, Honestly, I think when you have that absent parent, there's that fantasy of what things would be like if you were just with your parent.
Yeah.
But when you actually get there, you realize that the situation isn't what you thought all that time.
Yeah.
I remember, so many nights that I cried in foster care and just said, I wish I could just go back with my mom. But then when I got there, I realized like, maybe there was a reason I was where I was.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Okay. And so at 14 now, how long did you guys actually stay with mom then?
About 2 years, and then she passed away.
Oh, wow. And so now it's you, younger brother, very younger sister, still under age 18 you were at that time. So where'd you guys go?
At that time, my mom was married, and so we were living with her husband's family.
Okay. Was stepdad with you guys or you were with stepdad's family?
Stepdad's family.
Okay, stepdad's family.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He had an older sister who stepped up and
okay.
took us on.
Did you guys already know her or did you have to get to know her once she stepped up to take care of you guys?
We already knew her.
Okay. So it was
Already.
familiar, somebody familiar.
Yeah, it was someone familiar, and it's someone who accepted me because by this time, 16, I was pregnant with my second child.
Wow.
So,
Okay, let's back up a little.
yeah.
Okay. So 14, you went back to mom, you and brother, you have new little sister, and somewhere in the midst of that, you became pregnant with your first child at 15.
Yes.
So now there's you, little brother, little sister, your first baby, and mom.
Yes.
Okay. And then did mom pass before your second baby or
She passed while I was pregnant with my second child.
wow, Aubrey, how'd you deal with that?
Um, I think I just did what I always did and just adapted to the
Yeah.
situation. Um, that's one big thing about being in foster care is that you learn to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
You learn to adapt to the situation that you're in and just make the best of what you have.
Where did that not everybody can just adapt, right? And I know you're attributing that to being in foster care, but even then, not everyone can just take that and say, "Okay, I need to adapt to the situation." The families that you were with, talk to me about them. So when you were 5, that first family you went to, what was that like for you?
That first family, they had 2 children of their own that were around the same age as me and my brother. Their daughter is 2 months younger than me.
Okay.
So me and her became close-knit, and we're close to this day.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really
So,
good.
there was that. I think the biggest challenge was just the changes in family dynamic and the changes in religion.
Okay.
So I was a Baptist Christian as raised as a child. And then when I went to this first home, it was Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
So I believe that I got to see that there are a lot of similarities across many different religions, but then there's just these very specific small differences in what people believe.
Yeah.
And I think that's my first experience with learning how to adapt
Okay.
to those situations. You just want to fit in to the family that you have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to hold on to what you always knew. And you just kind of feel like, well, if I'm going to be a part of this family, I need to do what they do and I need to believe what they believe.
That's that's really interesting for me because I of course, me being outside of this experience, right? I would think that the parents the family would be more worried about that than the foster child. How do we help them, feel included, knowing they weren't raised like we raised our other kids? How do we help, Aubrey feel like what she learned is what she learned? Tell us about it. What did you used to do? Is that not how it works?
That's usually not how it works. If you get put into a family who is very strong about what they believe,
Yeah.
they don't take a lot from my experience.
Yeah.
They don't take a lot of into consideration what you believed before them.
Right.
They want you to assimilate
Yeah.
to what they have going on.
That's rough. And you're making me think of my own kids. They're raised by me and by their dad. We have different beliefs. And so I try to be as flexible as possible because you don't ever want the kids to think they're wrong for something they're doing on, one parent side of the family versus the other, just because you may or may not do that, right?
Right.
And I would think that type of situation is even more so with foster care because you have different kids coming to you and different families, but I guess it's not. It feels like there's more pressure on the child to want to fit in to not cause problem.
I think the foster parents avoid um maybe they believe that by avoiding what you knew before, it would help not to bring up trauma or triggers. So maybe they just tread lightly there and just
Yeah.
introduce what they do.
Yeah.
But I think as a foster kid, you want to be a part of their family. So
Okay.
you take it upon yourself to. It's I wouldn't say that they were telling me like this is what you have to believe.
Yeah.
I think there was just that underlying thing that this is what we do in our family, and if you're the type of kid that wants to be a part of it, you're going to adapt to that.
Wow. And that was at 5, yes?
Yeah,
Okay, so how long were you with that first family?
about 2 years.
Okay, so then once you're now adjusted to this new way of life, different religious belief, different habits, different everything, you got switched again? Or did you go?
Yes.
Okay, so what was that? Who was that family?
So that family was Buddhist.
Wow.
And so, yeah, you go from being in the traditional Christian church to Buddhist meetings where you're kind of sitting cross-legged at these different events and
And they call it temple, right?
yeah,
Okay. So even knowing the language or the words to say, that's a lot to try to pick up very quickly.
right.
Wow.
They also do there's different chants and
Yeah.
things like that. So, especially, when you're taught that one you're just taught something different all your life. So, I think that was very new and felt very foreign to me at the time.
Yeah.
But again, I wanted to be a part of their family, so I participated and looking back on it now as an adult, I think that it helped me to understand people.
Yeah.
It helped me to have grace for other religion. It helped me to see the common denominators and not really focus on a lot of the differences.
Mm.
I would just take the stuff that I already believed and I would connect it with things that were similar in belief.
So you look for through lines, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, we treat people right. We
Right.
love our neighbor. We honor
Yeah.
these things. I'm going to keep that going for wherever I am, but I am going to do the activities and the things that this family's doing. I want to fit in.
Right.
Got it. That is a very huge understanding and perspective for such a young kid.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're about 7. How long were you with this family?
Well, I was with that first family from 5 to 7.
Okay.
And then I was with that family from about 7 to 9.
Okay.
And then I went to a group home from 9 to 12.
Wow.
And at the group home, the caregiver was atheist.
Wow.
And she was very much into zodiacs
Yeah.
and, you know, astrology,
Yeah.
things of that nature. So I got to learn a lot about that.
Wow. Okay. So with so much variety, I'm going to say, okay,
Right.
from 7 to or 5 to 12, different family dynamics, different faith, different I'm sure things that we're not even bringing up, like food and clothing and all of that. Were there like some special moments for you that you took away that were positive and that you keep to this day, even though there was so much different, so much change?
Um, I think at the forefront, I just appreciated that there were people who were willing to take us,
Yeah.
regardless of what they believed or what we were, led to believe in our lives. I think it's important for people who, no matter what they believe, they still care about kids
Yeah.
and they still want to provide kids a life. And I think that's probably the most important thing is that, there are people who really do care about kids, no matter what their religious preferences or what their family dynamics are. Not everybody is willing to take in someone else's kid and take on that responsibility. So I think it's important that no matter what you believe, if you feel called to um, take in someone's child, I think that you should.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, if someone does feel like that's something that they want to put themselves out there to do, they want to help in that way, which is beautiful. Um, did you experience anything that made you feel like, wow, this shouldn't be part of this? Like kids shouldn't have to deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a foster parent who wasn't physically abusive, but would have us stand in the corner for hours, as punishment.
Wow.
And we're talking about like um, 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours,
Wow, Aubrey.
and it was just like um, right before we would get visits from the social worker, they would do something like take us to Castle Park
Mm.
or take us on a special ice cream trip.
To kind of erase the
So then when the social worker gets there, you're like, is that something to really tell about that
yeah,
we just had to stand there?
yeah,
Is that even, I mean, when you come from real abuse,
yeah,
is that abuse? Now I look back on it and it was a lot of like more like a mental abuse thing. Because if you have a kid standing in the corner until 3 a.m. and they still have to get up for school,
yeah,
and then they get in trouble at school for being tired, that's abuse. But I think that when you come from more severe abuse, regarding like how I even got into the foster system, I think it's easy for you to downplay
mm.
um, other forms of abuse. You just don't see it as abuse at the time.
Because
It's wrong, but
at least it's not
at
that.
least it's not that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And at 12, you were at the group home, but then somewhere around there, you guys went back to mom. Yes?
We would end up going to another home where me and my brother were then reunited
Oh,
again.
that's right. Okay. And was that wasn't a group home, that was a
That was
family.
a foster home,
Okay.
but there were 7 of us there, different
Wow.
foster kids that came from all different walks of life.
Yeah.
And so there, I still keep in contact to this day with the other girls who live there.
Wow.
We still talk. We still share photos of our kids. I think that last foster home right before I got sent back with my mom was probably the one where I felt the most understood. I think that she was a very professional foster parent. She knew to be considerate of people's beliefs. She offered her view, but she didn't force you to adapt to what she believed.
Yeah.
She took everyone's belief into consideration, and she always made each person feel special. And I think I think that's when I started to let go a lot of the I would say resentment that I had towards other foster homes.
Yeah.
And she wasn't treated the best by everyone there, and I think that that also showed me that it is a two-way street. Someone opens up their home and they're trying their best. Sometimes you have to let go of some of the resentment that you had for while you're there and just take the help for what it is
Right.
for the moment.
That is a big thing though, right? For young kids to understand. Um, and then maybe because that was your third placement.
Yes.
So no, fourth.
4th.
Because if you count the group
Yeah.
home, at that point you had a chance to see a lot.
Right.
Um, so I would imagine that kind of helped you. It's still a really young age, to just think, okay, this lady didn't do anything to me. Let me be appreciative,
Right.
of what she's trying to do. That's a lot for adults to wrap their minds around sometimes. So I can imagine that your experience grew you up a little
Right.
faster, of course, than as far as understanding or comprehending that. And you and your brother were there with her for how long?
About a year.
Okay.
And then at 15, well, about 14 and a half or so, we went back with my mom.
You went back with mom. And that is like you were saying, um, when you gave the description of going back, the first thing that came to my mind is, when people say don't meet your favorite celebrity.
Yep.
That's what it reminded me of, because you fantasize about what life back with mom is going to be like. And then once you've been through so much and you get there, from what you're telling me, it was like, oh, this is not what I thought,
Yeah.
it was going to be.
It definitely was a wow moment to re-meet your mother at 14
Yeah.
and, just see the way that she lives.
Yeah.
I think in foster care, they have a certain standard for how they are to live and maintain with the kids. When biological parents don't have to live up to that same standard.
Yeah.
So I think that of the food situation, kind of always eating what you want or used to people cooking and having family meals and dinners, and then realizing that your mom doesn't cook at
Yeah.
all, and that's just not her thing. And so she doesn't do a whole lot of grocery shopping. There is, basic necessities, but not the stuff that you've been used to
Right.
having. Um, so that was a big change. I was like, well, I'm going to start inventing meals
Yeah.
and cooking for myself. Um, and so just their dating life, you
Mm.
know. Foster parents are not allowed to have people in the home who are not vetted
Gotcha.
and don't meet certain qualifications.
Yeah.
Your biological parents can date who they want and they can bring who they want in their house, and it doesn't matter what kind of record they have or the type of person that they are. So, just household traffic and strangers in the home that you're not used to.
That's interesting because from what I understand, the ultimate goal for foster care is for kids to be reunited, with their parents, and go back home to their parents. And so hearing you say that right now, it it makes you wonder the structure, the rules, the standard for foster parents is the way you describe it. Um, but the reunification, I feel like where's the gap, between the rule, the quality of
Where's the rules?
the standard
The rules
for
go.
going back home and checking on those things. But I feel like that is there to some extent because kids do get taken right back out sometimes,
Right.
when they're being, when there's those checks. So I don't know. I don't know that where you fix that, or what you do about that. Because I know it's there, but from what it sounds like, it's not as, it could be healthier, I think maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when kids get retaken back out after reunification, it's usually something that's really serious.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of small things that you don't really consider when you're a foster kid. Like I said, you imagine being back with your parent as kind of what you see on the TV shows.
Mm.
And I watched a lot of TV shows with the quirky moms and dads, and you have this image of what their personality is going to be like and how excited they are to have you back.
Yeah.
Um, but that may not be the case,
Right.
you know?
So, kind of a rude awakening
Yeah,
for teenager, to go back home thinking one thing and very quickly seeing that's not what it's like.
right.
And then not too long after that, you became pregnant with your first child.
Yes, ninth grade.
Was mom How did mom react, support, respond, to that?
My mom, if you really go back, my grandmother had my mom at 14.
Okay.
My mom had me at 14.
Okay.
So me being pregnant at 15 just wasn't a big deal. It was the norm. It was generational.
Okay.
Um, she just was like, "Well, I knew it," kind of thing. I always had this thing with her that I would say that I wasn't going to be anything like her.
Mm.
And I used that as a jab because I just felt like I was going to overcome and rise above the decisions that she made. But when I found myself pregnant at 15, I realized that I had a lot more in common with her than what I had originally thought. And I think that after giving her those jabs over the years, I think it was her time to finally say, well, maybe you're not as superior as what you thought, Aubrey.
Well, and I think for the time in your life that you were in and what you had been through, that might have been a way for you to protect yourself, not from her, but from what you thought could be. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. You're saying it as a jab, but I don't know if there was so much malicious intent towards your mom as it was the situation,
Right.
and what was going on. Like you felt like it was a way for you to fight back against the situation.
Right.
Um, excuse me. I don't know. Maybe because of who I know you to be today, I can't imagine that that was it. It almost feels like a suit of armor, that a kid would put on
Right.
to protect themselves. But I mean, that's just how I would see it right now, just knowing you today. So, of course, okay, now 15, ninth grade, pregnant with a baby. And then your second baby, how old were you?
I was still 15 when I got pregnant.
So you were back to back pretty much.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter was about 3 months old and I was pregnant
Pregnant
again.
again.
Yeah.
Wow. And still with mom.
Still with mom, but I was about 4 months pregnant when she passed away.
Okay. Okay, so let's fast forward some.
Okay.
Okay. To you now being a mom of two and I don't know, 17.
Yes.
Where do you live?
We live with her husband's older sister.
Okay, let's go back there. Okay. And how long did you stay there?
I stayed there for about a year, and then when I turned 18, I moved with both the kids with their father and his family.
Okay.
And
And
my brother stayed behind and
stayed with the aunt.
stayed with the aunt and
Okay.
lived with her.
Okay. And what about baby sister at that point?
Baby sister lived with her father.
Okay. And did you guys still manage to keep in contact, see her, talk to her?
No, we lost contact with her. I didn't reunite with my sister until she was 14.
Okay.
She found me on Facebook and she
Wow.
messengered me.
Really?
Yeah.
That must have been an awesome surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she lived in Georgia at the time and I was working and I paid to fly her out
Wow.
to visit us, and now we talk every day.
Yeah. That's awesome. Tell me, What's the most important thing to you as a mom today?
Um, I think breaking those generational curses,
Yeah.
breaking the things that I feel like I fell short at the time, and I feel like I've done that. You know, my daughter turns 18 next Wednesday. She has a full ride scholarship to college. She's leaving for college in the fall
Yeah.
to go live on campus.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My son is turning 17 and he has plans to join the Navy. He wants to be an engineer.
Wow.
And so I'm letting my two older kids fly
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna give birth to a new baby this June.
It was really hard for me to hold that out till right now. So you are expecting a baby boy
Yes.
this June, starting completely over again.
Starting over at the finish line.
If Congratulations to you too.
Thank you.
If your kids could describe you in 3 words, what do you think the 3 words would be?
Funny,
Okay.
um, worried,
Okay.
and understanding.
Nice. Are they excited for new baby brother?
They're very excited. I'm married. My husband is very excited. And I never would have thought that I would be married and being able to experience the motherhood in such a more prepared way.
Yeah.
You know, I just finished my master's degree in December.
Mm.
And so,
There's all kinds of congratulations for you.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. So, if you could reach back in time, like let's say we had a time machine, and find younger Aubrey, what age would you go to and what would you tell her?
I would go back to younger Aubrey at age 15 when I had those back-to-back pregnancies
Yeah.
and was fresh out of the system and lost my mom. And I think I would just let her know that um, all things work in your favor over time. That every moment that you feel was bad is an opportunity to learn a lesson from it. That dark times don't last always, that you can take this experience and make it something beautiful and you get to decide your life even if there feels like there's a lot of things that go on that you don't have any control over. Eventually things will come full circle and you get to determine that.
Yeah.
So just hold on.
Yeah. I think 15 Aubrey would have appreciated that.
Definitely.
Yeah. This has been very awesome getting to sit down and talk to you and learn a little bit more. I learned a couple things about you today that I didn't already know. But I also want to say that you did not touch on um just how infectious your positivity is. I don't know that you realize that you have that with others, but you do. I remember being at one of our all staff meetings years ago. I had no idea who you were yet, but you stood up for an activity, volunteered for something in the room. You didn't really know what it was gonna be, but they needed volunteers and you stood up to do it, and, you gave a little bit about yourself there, kind of an open book, but very optimistic, very positive, very proud of you, your kids, what you all have, what you built for them, and I still remember that, from that day. I still remember your curls, I still remember the smile, so you do have a lasting impression on folks, so I wanna ask if there's anybody listening, even any kids, or if this manages to get, to any kids in foster care, what would you tell them? What would you give? What advice? What piece of, I don't know, something to hold on to for kids in the system right now?
Um, it's okay to feel like you lost who you are because you eventually refine yourself. I know that when you have to constantly adapt, You feel like, what do I like? What do I believe?
Yeah.
Um, and you can lose yourself trying to fit in. But eventually you will learn from all of those experiences, and you will realize who you are, and it comes back.
That's awesome, Aubrey. I hope somebody going through that or knows somebody going through that hears that and shares that with them. That's very powerful. Congratulations again on baby number 3.
Yes.
I do expect some pictures when
I will bring
when he
pictures of
arrives.
you.
Yes, let's do that. Okay, thank you so much. We'll have you back maybe after baby when you come back to work to see how everything's going.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, we want to remind you that if you or someone you know is facing a crisis, help is available. You are not alone. If it's an emergency, please call 911. For immediate support, you can reach out to the Crisis and Suicide Hotline by dialing 988. Remember, taking the first step to ask for help is a sign of strength. Stay safe, take care of yourself, and take care of each other. Until next time, be well.
As we close out our last mini-series, we're joined by Dr. Amy Young, a forensic pediatrician specializing in childhood trauma and abuse. Dr. Young brings expert insight and compassion to help tie together the powerful stories shared throughout the series, offering clarity, understanding, and hope around trauma, healing, and the importance of informed support for children and families. Don't miss this final episode, where we reflect, learn, and bring this mini-series to a close.